This is Let's Finally Talk, a heart-to-heart with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, live streaming every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Join me on YouTube at Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, on Facebook at Dr. Jacalyn, and on Instagram at Dr. Jacalyn, as seen and heard on the USA Global TV and Radio Network worldwide. We've earned the YouTube Silver Creator Award, and I've earned the 100 Global Top Women Icons in Media. My TV shows are Iconic Women, Creating a World of Possibilities, Judgment, the Hidden Sin, A Woman's Prerogative, Sisterhood Across Borders, It's Your Healthy Lifestyle, and the latest updates. Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow. We're streaming every night live on Let's Finally Talk. Hello and welcome. This is Let's Finally Talk with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and that would be me, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I've been away traveling in Europe for almost a month, so I haven't been as diligent in broadcasting live because there is a big time difference from when I normally broadcast this. So thank you for being here. And what I'd like you to take away from today's show, which is gratitude without pretending, be thankful, and still be honest. It all comes underneath something that I've created and trademarked called elevated listening. And you can find out more in my book, Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. So the purpose of our show today is we're at a time of year, depending on where you live, the seasons change, the time has changed, and the holidays are coming up. So at this time of year, I know, especially in the States, people I know, there's a lot of pressure for giving gifts and making sure it's the right gift, and also for holiday meals and holiday parties. And so I know that many coaches, including myself, have talked about the fact that giving gratitude and saying affirmations is really important. But yet there are times when we don't actually want to give gratitude. Maybe we are feeling depressed, or maybe we're feeling all the feelings that go with grief, or maybe we're feeling a sense of loneliness or isolation, a lot of the feelings that people get during this time of year. The holidays are really special for a lot of reasons, but for many people, they bring up feelings of loss, feelings of being alone, maybe people they lost in their life, maybe something that they were a part of that they no longer are. Maybe as they've gotten older, their health has started to fail. And so not everyone is grateful during this time of year. So what I want to talk about today is that it's okay not to feel grateful. It's okay to take a moment of pause, because being grateful, when we're really authentic in it, is such a deep and incredible feeling. And it does take work. It takes looking in the mirror and saying, okay, where am I in my life? Am I happy with who I am? Do I believe that I am my best coach? When you look at yourself in the mirror, do you like yourself? Do you love yourself? Or are you constantly searching for something outside? And during this time of year, many people will ask for gifts. They could be extravagant gifts, or maybe they want something that their loved one or their families really can't afford, or maybe they can't afford it themselves and they go into a lot of credit card debt because they feel this sense of loneliness or emptiness. And so it's important to be able to recognize this without judging yourself, without being hard on yourself, with giving yourself some grace, being honest with who you are and how you feel. So to me, gratitude can mean many things. And as I've gotten older, I'm 62 now, gratitude means a lot more and in different ways than it used to. I am grateful to wake up. I am grateful that I can breathe. I am grateful that I can see, that I can hear. I'm grateful that I can walk. So many things that when I was younger, you just take for granted. And yet I watched my parents. My father had a lung disease, and it was very hard for him to breathe. And when you watch someone struggle to take a breath, you realize that breathing is not something to take for granted. My mother had lost her hearing in one ear and she lost her vision in one of her eyes. When you can't see, when you can't hear, there's so much that you miss out on. So while we don't have to be grateful for everything in our life, we can be honest. We can be honest with ourselves. There's always something to be appreciative of. And so, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter where you are, no matter how you're feeling, there's something that you have right now that is a gift. And it could be as simple and yet as complicated as being able to take a breath of clean air. The air is not clean everywhere in the world. Not everyone can breathe on their own. So the fact that you can breathe and have clean air, that's huge. So when we think about gratitude without pretending, I know I've heard people say, well, you should be grateful. They put that should in there, that burden that you are taking something for granted and you should. We don't have to should be anything. Gratitude comes deeply from within. And sometimes it comes through faith. Sometimes it comes from believing in a higher power, or maybe it comes from believing in the universe. But it's something that we truly have to be in alignment with. And I believe it starts with ourselves. It starts with ourselves looking at ourselves and saying, okay, I know I've made mistakes, but I've done a lot of things right. Why don't we celebrate those things and be grateful for them? Why don't we celebrate the fact that we woke up today and that we get to make choices? And every choice that we make takes us on a path. And so we have to be diligent and deliberate about the choices that we make. When we make a choice that turns out to be something other than what we would have liked, how can we make that work for us? I'm all about inner peace and finding a solution. What is the solution? And around this time of year, it's very normal. You'll see it whether it's in yourself or other people. People get highly emotional. They might get emotional in the way they speak, in their tone, in their voice message, in their emails, in their texts. And so, what I say is give them grace. Give people grace to be anxious, to be upset. But that doesn't mean that we have to take it on ourselves. And this is the key point. We get a choice. We can be grateful and say, you know what? I have set a boundary, or I'm learning how to set boundaries. And so my gratitude comes from the fact that I choose not to accept this. I choose not to engage in this. I choose to make my own decision and set my own boundary. And I've talked a lot about this next analogy, and I'd really like you to think about it. So, whatever you're doing, if you can just clear your mind and just be present with me for a moment, I think that you'll find some value in this. The example that I've given is if you've ever watched a reality TV show where someone is out in the woods, or maybe you are someone who likes to go out into nature and you need to build a fire. There's certain things you need to build a fire. Even if you're building a fire in a fireplace, the one thing that the fire needs is air so that it can keep breathing and keep growing. And so that's the same thing when we have an argument with someone, when we have a disagreement with someone, something has to keep it going. And that something is usually two people playing off each other, meaning one person has to be right. Is that you? Are you the person who has to be right? Or do you know someone? They always have to be right. No matter what you say, they have to have the last word. It's a control thing, it's an ego thing. And it's the same thing, a similar thing with a fire. The fire gets bigger and bigger because you keep blowing on it, keeps getting more air, you keep putting kindling on it or wood on it. It's the same thing when you have a disagreement with someone. But here's the gratitude piece. You have a choice. You can choose to not engage. You can choose to not one up the person. You can choose to not outscream the person. You can choose to hang up. You can choose to say, I've had enough and I'm no longer engaging in this conversation. You get choices. And so once you do that, the fire can't keep building. And the fire, the proverbial fire in this case, the other person, has no one to yell at. They have no one to argue with because you have made a choice. I will not engage. I will set a boundary and I will choose to step back. You can physically take a step back and say, I'm out. I'm not having this conversation. And what a gift that is. What a gift it is to know that you have a choice. Now, will you make the choice or will you come from a place of fear? Many times we're in a relationship, maybe it's a professional relationship or a personal relationship, and we are terrified. We're afraid of being fired. We're afraid of being talked about. We're afraid of being left. We're afraid of a zillion things. And so instead of being grateful for the power of choice, we choose not to make a decision, which is also a choice. Or we choose to play the same role that we've always played in the relationship. Maybe you're the person who always acquiesces. You're the one who always gives in. And your partner knows that. They expect that from you. Or maybe you're the person who always likes to stir the pot and you'll make little comments like, oh, I was joking. You weren't joking. You meant it. When people say that, oh, I was being sarcastic, you meant what you said. And so you have a choice of whether or not you're going to engage in that behavior, whether you're the person who is the one stirring the pot or you're the person who's sitting and taking it. So I ask you to consider as we come to the end of another year, how are you going to close out this year? What is it that you can do so that when you look in the mirror, you really like yourself? You can like yourself because you set a boundary. You can like yourself because you raised your hand and said, not anymore. I'm not doing it this way anymore. I'm not taking it anymore. I've had enough. Now, you don't have to be confrontational. You don't have to be argumentative. You can just come from a place in your heart where you know you're at peace. Because if you're not at peace, if you're looking in that mirror and you're saying to yourself, I really feel tortured or I can't stand the way I feel about myself, you have to make a decision. And if you don't make a decision, then accept the fact that you've chosen this path, which is also a decision. And for me, what I really feel is when we have a higher power, whether it's God, universe, whatever it might be for you, we can actually pray. We can actually ask for guidance. And if you're not a religious person, maybe you have coaches, or even if you are a religious person, maybe you have coaches and you have mentors, and you can run something by and say, this is the situation and it doesn't feel good in my skin. That's called our intuition. When we know something doesn't feel right, but we choose to ignore it, we have to ask ourselves, why are we ignoring this? Instead of taking a stand and making a decision. Now, I'm not suggesting that you have to be confrontational. I'm not suggesting that every relationship has to be a game of chess. I'm just suggesting that you think about how can you be at peace? How can you set your own ground rules? How can you actually like yourself? And how can you actually love yourself? And how can you love your life? You get a choice. If you don't have the power, truly, you don't believe that you have the power, you can raise your hand and say, I need help, and get help from someone who is trained and educated and has professional experience in this area. But if that's not your situation, then I ask you at the end of this show, go and look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and look in your own eyes. Do you like who you are? If you don't like who you are, What's probably happening is this discontent is showing up in your relationships. You're probably taking it out on other people. We were talking on an earlier show about the 5 whys, and some people have heard of the 7 whys. But when someone makes a statement, typically there's something more going on under the surface. And so, unless you're skilled in this area, and there are people who are definitely skilled in this area, of asking what's underneath this and really getting to the core, to the foundation. It's like if you have a home, the home is built on a foundation. And if that foundation is rocky or shaky, it can affect the entire house. So you have to figure out what it is that's really going on, but you have to start with yourself. So are you finding that you're in arguments with people? Are you finding that you're yelling? Are you finding that you're in isolation or you're retreating and it's not really by choice? It's just because you feel just don't like where you are or who you are. That's a sign. It's a sign that there's something going on inside you. Maybe it's from years ago, maybe it's from childhood. I don't know. It could be a number of things. But get in touch with who you are. You can read books, self-help books, you can watch YouTube videos, you could get a therapist, you could get a coach, you could join self-help groups. There's many ways to actually get the skills and tools that you need. And so what will happen is, in my experience, when you do the work, when you put the time in, you'll have an epiphany. You'll have a moment of clarity and you'll say to yourself, "Oh, now I realize why I've been so angry." If there's nothing going on that is right at the forefront of your life. In other words, something that obviously would be causing you upsetment. It could be loss of a loved one. It could be loss of income, loss of a home, loss of your health. Then there's probably something else going on. And so you can be grateful for the fact that you have this awareness, the fact that you realize you are unhappy and you want to do something about it. That is the first step. You can be honest with yourself. And that doesn't mean, by the way, that you have to go on social media and post it to everyone. By the way, I did some work and I realized there's something wrong and I need to get, because all you're doing then is asking for validation. And so what I ask you to do is look in the mirror at yourself, look in your own 2 eyes and realize you are your best coach. You do not need validation. You do not need anyone else's approval. You have everything you need inside you. You just have to take the steps and come from a place of love, come from a place of gratitude for the fact that you are here today and so many others are not. So many people have passed on before their time, and yet you are here. I am here, and we get a choice. So, what I'd like you to think about as the holiday season is here, and it's everywhere, really, depending on where you are in the world. But the music playing all the time, maybe you hear some of the typical songs, and you just start to get upset. There's a reason for the upsetment. Maybe you feel alone. Maybe you feel betrayed. Maybe you feel lost. Get in touch with it. Explore it. What is it that's coming up for you that's causing these feelings? Write it down. Write down what you're feeling. Today, I'm feeling lost. Today, I feel alone. Today, I feel desperate. Today, I feel rejected. Write it down. Get it out of your system. Put it on the piece of paper. And then after you're done, you can rip it up and say goodbye, goodbye to that. Goodbye to my loneliness. And if it happens again, you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. And at some point, you will be grateful that you let go of those negative emotions. And again, if it's a situation where you have some serious mental issues going on, you're suffering from depression or anxiety, seek help. Get someone, a professional, to work with you. I am not here giving any guidance or direction to someone who feels truly in a state of desperation or depression. You have to work with professionals so that you can get the help that you need. But for the rest of us, I'm suggesting that you give yourself grace, that you give gratitude, that you get to make choices. Think about all the people who are suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia, and they can't make decisions anymore. You might know someone like this. I have known many people like this, and it is heartbreaking to watch someone lose their mind. If you have your mind and you have your breath, you have the ability to make decisions, that is something for which you can be truly grateful. So when we think about let's finally talk, let's talk to ourselves out loud, by the way. I talk to myself all the time out loud. I get whatever it is I have to say, I get it out into the open, into the universe. And I've actually read that this is a sign of very healthy people, that if you talk to yourself, that there's some part of your mind that gets triggered. I don't know what the research is or the background, but there's some part of your mind that gets triggered in a healthy way, in a good way. So talk to yourself out loud. Say whatever it is you're feeling. If you're going through something during the day, just say, wow, I really feel upset about this, or I'm really concerned about that, or I'm worried about this, or I'm really happy. How can we be taking these negatives and turning them into positives? The answer, as I've said before, is finding the solution. I have seen people get so highly emotional, they actually are no longer dealing with reality. There's one situation and they're no longer dealing with the situation because they're so emotionally charged. And when this happens, you watch someone just fall apart, and you can give gratitude and say, you know what? I'm so grateful that I'm working on myself. I have no judgment about the other person. I'm just grateful that I get the opportunity to make decisions and to keep my emotions at bay so that I can find a solution. So, for the close of tonight's show, in the spirit of elevated listening, which means listening without judgment, listening without problem solving, listening without stage hogging, and listening without interruption, I encourage you to look in the mirror in your own eyes and find your best coach, because that person is right there in the mirror. Believe in yourself, follow your intuition, and be grateful without pretending. Be grateful for acknowledging the good that you do have, the control you do have, the health you do have, the opportunities you do have, the family you do have. We spend so much time thinking about what we don't have. Let's focus on what we do have. So, what I'd like to do as we close out, I have recently had the incredible opportunity to record my first single. It's called Please Listen to What I Say. And it is a tribute, really, to all of us in terms of finding our own empowerment and finding a way that we can go from doing what everyone wants us to do to doing what we need to do, what we feel is best for us. So it's called Please Listen to What I Say. It's available on download from Apple iTunes, from Amazon, and from Spotify, and any place where you can download music. The featured singer is myself, along with Maddie Loveday. So take a listen, and I'd love to hear your comments. Here we go.
The moon is a spotlight, the sun's on the stage, the world's got some good seats, but nobody stays. They get their opinions, I've got mine too. So darling, please listen to what I say. babe, now. Listen, babe, now. Listen, babe, now.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.